Okay, hi Marla. Here's my poster. I hope you can kind of see it. So my title is Stress, Injuries, and Mental Health, Unveiling the Challenges Faced by Collegiate Athletes. So my thesis is collegiate athletes experience greater levels of stress than non-athletes related to poor health behavior patterns, the negative impact of musculoskeletal injuries and concussions, and barriers towards seeking help for mental health. So this stress stems from several things, but those will be the three that I'm going to be discussing. So poor health behavior patterns consists of athletes struggling with irregular eating, inadequate sleep, and limited recovery time. These struggles lead to stress, which often results in unhealthy coping mechanisms such as alcohol use or aggressive behavior. This will only further these stressors for the athlete. However, in the athlete's mind, this is them managing that stress. So often athletes will feel stressed out and they will turn to these to kind of relieve that, which obviously worsens symptoms of anxiety or depression that they may be experiencing. So as for inadequate sleep, the rigorous and demanding schedules of being a collegiate athlete as well as a full-time student are to blame. A study I found saw that 42% experienced poor sleep quality, 39% experienced 39% regularly obtain inadequate sleep, and 51% report high levels of daytime sleepiness. So all of these stats negatively affect an athlete's mood, which ultimately declines their mental health, because if they're not getting enough sleep, obviously they're not going to be functioning well the next day, and they most likely aren't able to get much sleep because of the rigorous schedules of their sport and then all the schoolwork on top of it. So now I'm going to talk about injury-related stress. This can come from several things like concussions and musculoskeletal injuries, which is what I'm going to be talking about. Both of these are very prevalent in collegiate athletes. So feelings of anxiety and depression can occur directly from a concussion, while for musculoskeletal injuries, athletes' mental health can decline from feelings of isolation, pain, and long recovery times. So kind of going along with that feeling of isolation, in an article I found, it stated that symptoms of a musculoskeletal injury that athletes can face are loss of interest in things that they are normally interested in, or loss of identity. So while an athlete is injured, they're isolated from their team and like kind of that whole dynamic, which kind of becomes their identity, especially as a collegiate athlete. So when they're injured and they're not able to participate regularly in those things, they can kind of have that sense of loneliness, I guess, which further intensifies their stress and negative feelings for mental health. Now, for the barriers towards seeking help, I will be discussing stigma around athletes and mental health. So in a study I found, stigma is one of the most prominent barriers collegiate athletes face, as they have reported feeling perceived as weak if they are identified seeking mental health treatment. So this whole idea of a stigma around mental health leaves these symptoms unaddressed, which obviously will worsen their stress, because in the world, I guess, of collegiate athletes, there's this whole idea of mental toughness where you kind of just have to get through everything that you kind of have to face with sports and school at the same time. So that's why they're, I guess, afraid of being perceived as weak if they reach for that help and they feel discouraged to seek for that help. So overall, addressing these issues requires an approach that prioritizes proactive injury prevention, healthier coping mechanisms, and promotes accessible mental health services.